Welcome back to Debating Your Dollars, where two financial advisors with two opinions have one goal in mind, making sure you're making sound decisions when it comes to your money. Today we're going to talk about something that I keep saying this. Maybe it's because I've been mentoring you for Great Minds Think Alike. Let's go with that. I don't know that Niko and I are going to have differing opinions on this, but whether the 401k loan is a good idea for folks to use. And I'm going to start. I don't like it. I don't like that. I understand why it exists. I understand that maybe in a very dire hardship that it could be useful. Yes, you're borrowing money. Yes, you're borrowing money from yourself. But when you lose your job, you make a bad situation even worse if you have a loan on your 401k. And we've seen it. You have a loan on your 401k, you lose your job. Now, times are tight, budget's tight. In addition to that, now you owe the taxes on that loan. Not only taxes, if you're below the age of 59 and a half, you owe penalties, you owe state, you owe, it can be it can turn a very expensive nightmare into a even worse scenario. And again, if you're new to the 401k and you have a dire emergency and that is your only route, but I would even argue that you may be better off finding other sources to borrow before you borrow from your 401k.
There's got to be other options. Like the 401k loan, in 90% of this, I would even say 99% of the scenarios, it's got to be last option.
Right.
Like I know what I see online typically is people are like, well, tell me why I shouldn't pay off my 30% interest credit card with a 401k loan because the 401k loan's interest is 10% and it's coming back to me versus the Discover or whatever credit card loan it is 30%. And quite frankly, the answer there is probably not something a lot of people like, but if you didn't have the discipline to pay off your credit card, probably aren't going to have the discipline to pay yourself back in your 401k. And
like, to me, you have to be very secure in your job first and foremost. And I know we all like to think that we are, but I'm going to tell you how much I hate the 401k loan. I own the company. My name's on the sign. My signature goes on everybody's paychecks. And I would not borrow from my 401k.
Yeah.
Because I just disagree with the concept so much. Because now, let's say somebody comes in and says, hey, Will, here's more money than you deserve for your business. 401k goes away. Now I've got an additional tax in that process that I don't want to have to deal with. So it is, to me, unless you're
up against
bankruptcy or a medical procedure that this is your only option to initiate or something, they're just, I would rather see somebody just take the distribution.
Yeah.
Just take the distribution, have the taxes and penalties withheld, and be done with, instead of borrowing, taking a prolonged period to pay it back, losing your job, and then in addition to job loss, here comes the IRS that says, hey, by the way, we need this by the tax deadline.
Yeah. Well, most companies too, a lot of them, what they'll do is they'll do hardship loans. Like, so you have to have like a hardship or hardship withdrawals. So you have to have like a reason behind actually going to get it. But that's not every company. And I think the problem with that is it's getting looser and looser with what plans are allowing loans. And so now people see it as like a first option to go to go get it. And it's like, no, like, listen, like, I get you're supposedly paying yourself back interest, but job security is huge there. Never one bad economy, and next thing you know, you're jobless and you're taking taxable distribution. You just pulled funds that were supposed to compound and get you out at 62, 65, 67, whatever it was, and now you're stuck here. And a lot of people's argument, well, a lot of people will be like, I just won't use my 401k then. I was like, okay, well then use your income that you're going to put in,
Right.
Towards a private bank loan or something like that. Like 401k needs to be true accumulation. Don't disrupt it.
Yeah. I've tried, and again, other than the dire emergency necessity where this is your only option, I just can't see the merit in borrowing from something that potentially makes a bad situation worse later. And you get later in your career, now it's time to retire. And that money, I mean, remember that if you don't pay it back, it gets counted as income.
Yeah.
So it disrupts the first years of your retirement, maybe makes other income. Think about if you lose your job and then have to realize that loan, and now your benefits that you're receiving maybe from unemployment get taxed higher because you've pushed your. I mean, there's so many recipes for disaster in that process that no one's been able to sell me on it.
I don't think people realize, because we're numbers people, so we live in a semi-different world sometimes.
Right.
The actual value of that loan either. So like if you're 40 and you take a $20,000 loan from your 401k and you're going to retire at 60, money doubles every 7 to 10 years.
Right.
You didn't take a $20,000
loan.
You took a 40
80.
to an 80. You took an $80,000 loan that now disrupted. Now you're $80,000 shorter than where you should be in retirement.
Right.
So we see it, and I don't think enough people see that. It's like, oh, it's only a $10,000 loan. Like I had a student loan that was $10,000. I paid that off immediately. It's not only 10.
Right.
Like you're disrupting all of the compounding in the future to most of the time. It's not necessarily for necessary expenses either. It's gotta be the last place you go. You gotta be pinned up against bankruptcy. Otherwise, I'd rather you just shut off your 401k contributions,
right,
for
and direct
a year
that money
or 2 years and direct it
to
towards
the
a
debt,
loan.
right.
Then take that 401k loan. The discipline just is not there.
No.
It's just not there.
I feel like this should be one of those, the meme where the guy's sitting behind the table that says "Change my mind," and I have the because there's never, maybe try in the comment section if there's any reason that you want to try to change my mind. Again, I know that there are emergencies. That's not lost on me. I know that there are times when we will look at this and say, at the very least, it's the fastest mechanism because you can turn the loan around relatively quickly before, or other than calling a bank. That takes an underwriting process. So there are short-term advantages to that. But I just, again, I've watched it happen after 23 years. I've watched it happen too many times where
they don't realize what they signed up for.
Right. And none of us are that secure in our careers. Again, my name's on the sign, and I wouldn't do it in my scenario. And I've watched folks who thought they were secure, and then you have a pandemic, you have a financial crisis, and then it's very easy to feel secure.
AI takes your job now.
Well, and it's very easy to feel secure right now in a world when the market's been up, the market's reaching all-time highs, the economy, I guess it's arguable, but is in a relatively strong place right now. But we're 6 months away from that being different all the time. So, again, I just it's going to be a hard sell to convince me that a 401k loan is something.
I actually wonder, if someone could change their mind on that.
If you have any other topics that you would like to see Niko and I debate or discuss, please make sure you let us know in the comments below. If you have any questions or any insight that you'd like to add, please also do that in the comments below.